Hi, in this 2-minute NetBeans tip, we're going to prepare for things going wrong. What typically goes wrong when you're working on a project of some kind is that you accidentally delete a file and then you panic because you've done lots of work and that file is gone. The first thing you need to do is to check your project into a version control system, and the way you do that is to select your project, go to Team, and typically you use Git, and what you'll do is you'll say initialize repository, and then you'll be able to, after that, commit your code locally, and from that point you'll be able to push that code into a repository on GitHub. So go to github.com, set up a project there, and you'll be able to push from your local commit into that online repository. However, what more typically goes wrong is that even though you have set up a repository into which you are checking your code, before you check in your latest changes, something goes wrong and a file goes missing. So for example, imagine that accidentally we delete this particular file, which hasn't been checked into the online repository. So now what? Now that file is gone. Not so, in fact, because you can right-click on this folder which contained that particular file, right-click and go to History and Revert Deleted. When you do that, you will see there is your file. So NetBeans has backed it up locally, and we can put it back into our project. Now imagine that we don't have this file anymore. For example, we've accidentally deleted this one, and we've deleted these two as well by accident, and they're not checked into our online repository. What do we do now? Well, go to the folder that contains both those folders, which is one higher up here. Right-click, go to History, Revert Deleted, and there we can see all of the files that we have deleted. So including one that I haven't deleted this round of deletions, but prior to that. So we say OK, and they're all back again. So NetBeans backs up your files locally, and you can retrieve them, which is especially useful when you haven't, of course, checked those files into your online repository, because that's where you really should be retrieving them from. A final tip related to this topic is, imagine that we have deleted not a file, but some code within a file. Well, we could, of course, retrieve that by going to Edit and Undo, but another way is to go into the history of this particular document, and you can see here that there is source and history, so we can right-click in here, and you can select Show Editor Toolbar if you don't see source and history. Go in here, and then you can see which changes have been made, what the status of the current file, and the changes that have been made to it previously. So we can go back into the file, and let's delete some more. So I'm delete all of this, and I save it, and I go back into the history of the file, and here I can see all these different changes. And we can revert these locally made changes too. Click on these arrows that you see, and you will reinsert those changes you have made locally back into the current state of the document. That's it. NetBeans provides a range of tools to help you recover files that you might have accidentally lost, or as well pieces of code within the files that you might like to retrieve.